Keep your eyes open, look in the Eagle. It'll be printed in there when we're having our auditions and everything. And if you could, please make sure that you silence your cell phones. I would greatly appreciate that. And I'm not going to go on forever. Enjoy Little Women.
It won't be Christmas without any presents.
It's so dreadful being poor. I don't think it's fair for some girls to have plenty of pretty things and other girls nothing at all.
We've got mother and father and each other.
We haven't got father and shall not have him for a long time.
You know the reason Mother proposed not having any presents for Christmas this winter is because it's going to be a hard season for everyone. She thinks we ought not spend our money for pleasure when our men are suffering so in the army. We have to make our little sacrifices, and we ought to do them gladly. Though I'm afraid I don't.
But I don't think the little that we should spend would do any good. We've each got $1, and the army wouldn't be much helped by our giving that. I agree not to expect anything from Mother or you, but I do want to buy young diamonds and tram for myself. I've wanted it for so long.
I plan to spend mine in music.
I'll get a box of Faber's drawing pencils. I really need them.
Mother didn't say anything about our money, and she wouldn't want us to give up everything. So let's each buy what we want and have a little fun. I'm sure we work hard enough for it.
I know I do. Teaching those tiresome children nearly all day when I'm longing to enjoy myself at home.
You don't have half such a hard time as I do. How would you like to be shut up with a nervous old lady who keeps you trotting, is never satisfied, and worries you until you're ready to fly out the window or cry?
It is naughty to fret. I do think washing dishes and keeping things tidy is the worst work in the world. It makes me crass. My hand gets so stiff I can't practice well at all.
I don't believe any of you suffer as I do. You don't have to go to school with impertinent girls who plague you when you don't know your lessons and label your father if he's rich and insult you if your nose isn't right.
If you mean libel, I'd say so and not talk about labels as if Papa was a pickle bottle.
I know what I mean, and you needn't be sarcastical about it. It's proper to use large words and put it in vocabulary. Really, girls, don't peck at each other. Oh, Joe, don't you wish we had the money Papa lost when we were little? How good and happy we'd be if we had no worries.
You said the other day you thought we were a deal happier than the skinny children, for they were fighting and fretting all the time in spite of their money.
So I did, Beth. Well, I think we are. For though we do have to work, we are able to make fun of ourselves, and we are pretty jolly set, as Joe would say. Joe does use such slang words. Don't Joe, it's so boyish.
That's why I do it.
I detest unladylike girls.
I hate affected, niminy-piminy chits.
Bird in your littleness agree.
You are much too old for such boyish tricks. It didn't matter so much when you were a little girl, Josephine, but now you are so tall and you pin your hair up. You ought to remember that you are a young lady.
I'm not. And if wearing my hair up makes me one, I'll wear it in 2 tails till I'm 20. I hate to think I've got to be Miss March and wear long gowns and be as prim as a China Aster. It's bad enough being a girl anyway, when I like boys' work, games, and manners. I can't get over my disappointment in not being a boy. And it's worse than ever now, because I'd rather be off fighting with Father instead of staying at home and knitting like a poky old woman.
Oh, poor Joe. It's too bad, but it can't be helped. So you must be content with making your name boyish and playing brother to us girls. As for you, Amy, your ways are much too particular and prim. Your airs are funny now, but you'll grow to be an affected little goose if you don't take care. I like your nice manners and your elegant way of speaking, but your absurd words are as bad as Joe's slang.
If Joe is a tomboy and Amy is a goose, then what am I, please?
You're a dear and nothing else.
Marmee's slippers are quite worn out. She must have a new pair.
I thought I'll buy her some with my $1.
No, I shall. I'm the oldest.
I'm the man of the family now that Father is away, so I shall provide the slippers, for he told me to take special care of Mother while he was gone.
Tell you what we'll do. Let's each get her something for Christmas and not get anything for herself.
That's like you, dear. What will you get? I shall get her a nice pair of gloves.
Army shoes, best to be had.
Some handkerchief all hammed.
I'll get a bottle of plums. She likes it, and I won't cost much, so I'll have enough left to buy my pencils.
How shall we get the things? We'll put the bundles on the table and have Marmee come and open them. Don't you remember how we used to do for our birthdays?
I used to be so frightened when it was my turn to sit in your chair with a crown on and see you all marching around to give the present with a kiss. I liked the things and the kisses, but it was dreadful to have you sit there while I opened the bundle.
Let Marmee think that we're getting the things for ourselves. Meg, you and I will go shopping tomorrow afternoon. Marmee's going to be home soon. Don't give it away.
Well, dearies, how have you got on today? There was so much to do, I didn't get home for dinner. Were there any calls, Beth? How's your cold, Meg? Joe, you look tired to death. You can give me a kiss. I have a special treat for you after supper.
A letter! 3 cheers for Father!
Yes, a nice long letter. He's well, and he thinks that he'll get through the cold season better than he feared. He sends lots of loving wishes for you. For Christmas, and a special message for you girls.
Hurry up and get done. Don't stop to quirk your finger and simmer over your plate, Amy.
I think it was so splendid of Father to go in the army as chaplain when he was too old to be drafted and not strong enough for soldier.
Joan, I wish I could go as a drummer or a divan, what's its name? Or a nurse, so I could be near him and help him.
It must be quite disagreeable to sit in the tent and eat all sorts of bad tasting foods. And drink out with him, love.
When will he come home, Marmee? Well, not for many months, dear, unless he's sick. He'll stay and do his work faithfully for as long as he can, and we shouldn't ask for him back a minute sooner than he can be spared. Now, come with a letter. Give them all my dear love and a kiss. Tell them I think of them by day and pray for them by night, and find my best comfort in their affection at all times. A year seems very long to wait before I see them, but remind them that while we wait, we may all work, so that these hard days need not be wasted. I know they will remember all I said to them, that they will be loving children to you, will do their duty faithfully, fight their bosom enemies bravely, and conquer themselves so beautifully that when I come back to them, I may be fonder and prouder than ever of my little women.
I'm a selfish girl, but I'll surely try to be better, so he may not be disappointed in me by and by.
And I'll try to be what he loves to call me, a little woman, and not be so rough and wild. And do my duty here instead of wanting to be somewhere else.
Do you remember when you used to play Pilgrim's Progress when you were little things? Nothing delighted you more than to have me tie my piece bags to your backs for burdens and let you travel through the house, from the cellar, which was the city of destruction, up to the housetop, where you had all the lovely things you could collect to make a celestial city.
What fun it was, going by the lions, fighting Apollyon, and passing through the valley where the hobgoblins were.
I like the place where the bundles fell off and tumbled down the stairs. I don't remember much, except that I was afraid of the cellar and the dark entry, but I always liked the cake and the milk we had at the top. If it wasn't too old for such things, I'd rather like to play it over again.
Well, we're never too old for this, dear, for it's a play that we play at all the time, in one way or another. Our burdens are here, and our road is before us. And longing for goodness and happiness is the guide through many mistakes and troubles to the peace which is the true celestial city. Now, my little pilgrims, suppose we begin again. Not in play, but in earnest, and see how far you can get until your father gets home.
Really, Mother? Where are bundles?
Well, each of you just told what your burdens were just now, except Beth. I rather think she hasn't got any.
Yes, I have. Mine is vicious and dusty, and envying girls with nice piano, and being afraid of people.
Let us try it. It is only another way of trying to be good, and the story may help us. For though we do try to be good, it is hard work, and we often forget and don't do our best. We were in the Slough of Despond tonight, and
and Mother pulled us out as help did in the book. We ought to have our roll of directions like Christian. What shall we do about that?
Well, look under your pillows Christmas morning and you will find your guidebooks. Now, my little pilgrims, it's time for bed.
Merry Christmas, Marmee.
Many of them.
Thanks for our books.
The rest of my name's very bad.
Oh, I'm glad you began, and I hope you continue. There's a surprise for you in the kitchen.
Is it fairies?
Santa Claus!
Mother did it.
Aunt March had a good fit and sent the breakfast.
All wrong. Old Mr. Lawrence sent it.
The Lawrence boy's grandfather? What in the world would put such a thing in his head? We don't even know him.
Well, he knew my father years ago, and he sent me a polite note this morning asking if he could express his friendly feelings towards my children in the way of a few trifles in honor of the day. I couldn't refuse, so we had a little feast.
That boy put it into his head, I know it. He's a capital fellow, though he's bashful. And Meg is so prim, she won't let me speak to him when we pass. When the cat ran away, he brought her back, and we spoke through the fence all about cricket and such. I'd like to get to know him someday, for he seems like he could use some fun.
Well, I like his manners, and he seems like a gentleman, so I have no objection to you knowing him if the proper opportunity comes. He brought the flowers over himself. I should have asked him.
Well, I've never had such a pretty bouquet of flowers before. How elegant they are.
I wish we could send a bunch to Father. I'm afraid he isn't having such a Merry Christmas as we are.
Are you in there? Here. Just see. A regular note invitation from Miss Gardner for tonight.
Mrs. Gardner would like to see Miss Josephine and Miss March at a little dance on New Year's Eve.
Mother is willing we should go. What should we wear?
What's the use of asking that when you know we shall wear our poplins because we haven't got anything else?
If only I had a silk. Mother says I may have one when I'm 18. But 2 years is an everlasting time to wait.
I'm sure our pops look as nice as silk, and yours is as good as new. But I forgot about the burn and the tear in mine, and I can't take anything out. What shall I do?
Well, the front is all right. So you'll have to sit still and do the best you can to keep your back out of sight. As for me, I shall get a new ribbon for my hair, and my new slippers are lovely, and my gloves are nice, though they're not as nice as I would like.
I forgot, mine are spoiled by lemonade. I'll have to go without.
You must wear gloves, you must! You can't go to the dance without them, and I would be so mortified if you didn't.
Then I'll sit still. I don't care much for company dancing anyway. All that sailing round when I'd rather fly about and cut capers.
Josephine March, you are so careless. And gloves are very expensive. Mother said when you ruined the last ones, she shouldn't get you another pair this winter. Can't you make them do?
Well, I imagine I can hold them crumpled up in my hand so no one will see how stained they are. No, I know how we'll manage. We'll each wear one good one and carry the bag. Don't you see?
That's a terrible idea. Your hands are dreadfully bigger than mine and you'll stretch them horribly.
Then I'll go without. I don't care what people say.
Oh, fine. You may. Only don't stain them or behave badly. Don't shake hands with people or say Christopher Columbus, will you?
I'll do the best I can to not get into any scrapes. Now let me finish this splendid story and we'll get ready.
The bad breath of the sight, Joe. Was my sash look all right? Does my hair look bad?
I know I shall forget and do something dreadful. Will you remind me if I do by a wink?
Heavens, no. Winking isn't ladylike. I'll lift my eyebrows if you do something wrong, and I'll nod if everything is all right. Now keep your shoulders straight and take short steps, and don't shake hands with anyone. It isn't the thing.
Oh, how do you remember all the proper ways? I never can. Isn't that music lovely?
Oh, the beautiful March girls. Welcome, and it's lovely to see you tonight.
night. Make yourselves comfortable and dance to your heart's content.
Thank you so much for having us, Miss Gardner.
Oh, dear me. I didn't know anyone was here.
Don't mind me. Stay if you like.
Shan't I disturb you?
Not a bit. I only came here because I don't know many people, and I felt rather strange at first.
So did I. Don't go unless you'd rather. I think I've seen you somewhere before. Don't you live near us?
Next door.
Oh, we did have such a splendid time with the Christmas present you sent us.
My grandpa sent it.
But you put it into his head, didn't you?
How was your cat, Miss March?
Nicely, thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Only I'm not Miss March. I'm only Joe.
Well, I'm not Mr. Lawrence. I'm only Laurie.
Laurie Lawrence. We're not made.
Well, my first name is Theodore, but I don't like it very much, for the fellows used to call me Dora, so I just go by Laurie.
I don't like my name very much either. So sentimental. I wish everyone would say Joe instead of Josephine. How did you get the fellows to stop calling you Dora?
I thrashed them.
Well, I can't thrash Aunt March, so I suppose I shall have to bear it.
Don't you like to dance, Miss Joe?
Yes, if the room is large enough and the company is lively. But in a place like this, I'm sure to upset something or tread on someone's toes. So I let Meg sail about. Don't you like to dance?
Sometimes. You see, I've been abroad a good many years, but haven't been into company long enough to know how you do things around here.
Oh, abroad? Do tell me about it. I'd love to hear about people's travels.
Well, I went to school in Marmee. We had a fleet of boats on the lake, and for holiday fun to go walking through Switzerland with our teachers.
Then I wish I could have been there. Did you go to Paris?
Yes, last winter.
Can you talk French?
We were not to speak anything other than Marmee.
Oh, do say some. I can read it but can't pronounce.
Quel nom c'est jeune demoiselle en les pantoufles jolies.
How beautifully you do it. Let me see, you said. Who is the young lady in the pretty slippers, didn't you?
Oui, mademoiselle.
That's my sister Margaret. You knew who it was. You think she's pretty?
Oh, yes. She reminds me of the German girls. So fresh and quiet. She dances like a lady.
Aren't you going to college soon?
Not for 2 years. Not until 17 anyway.
Aren't you but 15?
16 next month.
You don't seem as if you liked it very much.
I hate it. Nothing but grinding or skylarking, and I don't like the way the fellows do it in this country either.
Then what do you like?
To live in Italy and enjoy myself in my own way.
That's a splendid polka. Why don't you go and try it?
Only if you come too.
Well, I can't because, well, you see, I have a bad trick of standing before the fire. So I burned my frocks and I scorched this one. It's funny, I know, you may laugh.
Enough of that. I know of a long hall where we can dance and no one will see us. Please come. I always go early.
cozy room this is.
It would be if it was kept nice.
Oh, well, I'll write it up in 2 minutes. For you see, all you need is the heart brushed and candles. There. Now you're fixed.
How kind you are. That's exactly what I wanted. Now, take the chair and let me do something to amuse my company.
No, I came to amuse you. Shall I read aloud?
Thank you, but I've already read all these books, and if you don't mind, I'd rather talk.
Not a bit. I'll talk all night if you only set me going. Beth says I don't know when to stop.
Is Beth the rosy one who stays home a good deal and often goes out with a little basket?
Yes, that's Beth. She's my girl, and a regular good one she is, too.
The pretty one is Meg, and the curly-haired one is Amy, I believe. You see, I often hear you calling to one another, and when I'm up here, I'm all alone, and I can't help but to look over at your house. You always seem to be having the best of times. And I beg your pardon for being so rude, but sometimes you forget to put the curtain down at the window where the flowers are, and when the lamps are lit, it's like looking at a picture to see the fire. All of you around the table with your mother, her face so sweet behind the flowers. I can't help it. I haven't got a mother, you know.
We'll never close the curtains again, and I give you leave to look as much as you like. Only I wish you'd stop peeping and would come over for a visit. Mother would do you good, and Beth would sing for you if I made her, and Amy would dance. Meg and I would make you laugh with our stage properties. Don't you think your grandpa would let you come?
He would if your mother asked. He's a kind man, though he doesn't look it, and he lets me do what I like. Although he's afraid I'm a bother to strangers.
We're not strangers, we're neighbors. We needn't worry about being a bother. We've wanted to get to know you for quite some time now.
Well, Grandpa lives among his books and doesn't care much for what goes on outside, and my tutor, Mr. Brooke, well, he doesn't stay here, so I just stop at home and get on as I can.
That's bad. You ought to go wherever you're asked, so that way you have lots of good friends and plenty of pleasant places to visit. You needn't worry about being bashful. You'll get over that in time.
Do you like your school?
Don't go to school. I'm a businessman girl. That is, I mean, I take care of my Aunt Marge, and a dear, cross old soul she is, too. Though I do enjoy reading quite a bit.
If you enjoy reading, you can go through my books.
What richness! Theodore Lawrence, you ought to be the happiest boy in the world.
A fellow can't live on books.
Oh, dear me, it's your grandpa.
Well, what if it is? You aren't afraid, are you?
I think I am a little bit afraid. Though I don't know why I should be, because Mother said I could come, and I don't think you're any worse for it.
I'm a great deal better for it. I'm only afraid you're tired of talking to me. Do you mind if I step out for a minute? I do believe that's the doctor ring, and I suppose I must see him.
Not a bit. I'm as happy as a cricket here. I don't think I should be afraid of him, for he's got kind eyes, though his mouth is grim. He seems as if he has a tremendous will of his own. He's not as handsome as my grandpa, but I like him.
Thank you, ma'am. So, you're not afraid of me, huh?
Not much, sir.
But I'm not as handsome as your grandfather.
Not quite, sir.
And I have a tremendous will, do I?
I only said I thought so.
You like me in spite of that.
Yes, I do, sir.
Ah. You have your grandfather's spirit, if not his face. He was a fine man, my dear. More important, he was a brave and honest one. And I was proud to call him my friend.
Thank you, sir.
So, what are you doing with this boy of mine?
Only trying to be neighborly, sir.
Think he needs cheering up, do you?
Well, I think he could use the company of younger people, perhaps. We're only girls, but we want to do everything we can to help him, for we don't forget the splendid Christmas present you sent us.
Tut, 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 tut. That was the boy's affair. I'll stop by one fine day and let your mother know that. There's the tea bell. We have it early on the boys' account. Why don't you come down and join us for tea and go on being neighborly?
If you'll have me, sir.
I wouldn't have asked if I didn't.
I didn't know you'd come, sir.
Come down and have tea, sir, and behave like a gentleman.
Girls, what are you doing? None of your business. Little girls shouldn't ask questions.
Do tell me, for I think you might let me go also, for Beth is fussing over her piano, and I have nothing to do.
You're not going. So don't whine about it and be a baby, Amy.
You're going somewhere with Laurie. I know you are. You were whispering on the sofa with him last night, and when I walked in, you stopped. Aren't you going with him?
Yes, we are. And you're not going, so stop bothering.
You're going to the theater to see the Seven Castles. I know you are. And I shall go too, for Mother said I may, and I have my ride money.
You can't go, dear. You weren't invited. Mother doesn't wish you to go this time because your eyes are not yet well enough to bear the light of this fairy piece. You may go next week with Beth and Hannah and have a lovely time.
I don't like that half as well as going with you, Laurie. Do let me, I'll be ever so good.
Oh, Joe, suppose we take her. Mother wouldn't mind if we bundled her up well. If she goes, I shan't. And if I don't go, Laurie won't like that very much. I'd hate to think she'd go poking where she isn't wanted.
I shall go. Meg says I may, and I have my ride money, so Laurie has nothing to do with it.
Well, you can't sit with us, for our seats are reserved. And you can't sit alone, so Laurie will give up his seat for you. And then that would spoil all of our fun. Or he'll buy you another ticket. And that wouldn't be proper since you weren't invited. So you may sit still and stay where you are.
You'll be sorry for this, Domonic. See to it.
Fiddlesticks! Has anyone seen my book?
No.
Amy, you've got it.
No, I haven't.
You know where it is then?
No, I don't.
That's a fib.
It's not a fib. I don't know where it's at, and I don't care.
Well, you know something about it, and you're going to tell me, or I'm going to make you.
School, as much as you like, you'll never see your silly little book again.
Why not?
I burned it up.
My little book that I was so fond of and meant to finish before Father got home? Have you really burned it?
Yes, I did. I told you I'd make you pay for being so cross.
Oh, you wicked, wicked little girl! I can never let it again, and I shall never forgive you! Never!
I'm very sorry, Joe. Please forgive me.
I'll never forgive you. I'm going skating with Laurie.
There, she's saying next time she goes, I shall too. For this is the last ice we'll have.
Don't say that. You were very naughty. It's hard to forgive the loss of her precious little book. But I think she might forgive you now, and I guess she will. Go after them. Don't say anything until Joe has gotten good-natured with Laurie. And then just take a quiet minute and kiss her, do some kind thing. And I know she'll forgive you with all her heart and be friends again.
I'll try.
What about a fire? She's asleep.
Are you sure she's safe?
Quite safe, dear. She's not hurt. And she won't even take cold, I think. You were so sensible in covering her and bringing her home quickly.
Laurie did it all. I only let her go. Oh, Mother, if something should happen to her, it would be all my fault. We went to the river to go skating, and Laurie went ahead to the first bend to make sure that it was all right before we had a race. He hollered back to stay near the edge because the middle wasn't safe. Amy must not have heard. So I went skating to catch up with him, and Amy was far behind me. And when I turned around, she went crashing into the water. I'm just so glad nothing bad happened to her, Mother. It was my dreadful temper. I try to cure it, but it comes back worse than ever. What shall I do, Mother?
Watch and ponder, dear. Never stop trying. And never think it's impossible to conquer your fault.
You don't know. You can't know how bad it is. It seems as if I could do anything when I get into a passion. I could say anything to hurt anyone and enjoy it.
I'm afraid that someday I'm going to do something so dreadful that it will spoil my life and make everyone hate me. Oh, Mother, help me.
I will, my dear. But you must remember this day and resolve with all your soul that you never see another like it. We all have our temptations, Joe, some far greater than yours. And sometimes it takes all our lives to conquer them. You think your temper's the worst in the world? Mine used to be just like it.
Yours, Mother? Why, you are never angry.
I've been trying to cure it for 40 years, and I've only succeeded in controlling it. I'm angry nearly every day of my life, Joe, only I've learned not to show it. And someday I hope to learn not to feel it, but that may take me another 40 years.
Mother, are you angry when you fold your lips together tightly and go out of the room, when Aunt March scolds or someone worries you?
Yes, I've learned to check my hasty words, and when I feel they mean to rise up against my will, well, I just go away for a minute, give myself a little shake for being so weak and wicked.
But how do you keep still? That's what troubles me. Seems as if the words come flying out before I know what I'm about. What helped you?
Well, my good mother used to help me.
As you do us?
But I lost her when I was a little older than you, and for years I had to struggle on alone, for I was too proud to confess my weakness to anyone else. I had a hard time, Joe, and I shed a good many bitter tears over my sorrows. For in spite of my efforts, I never seemed to get on. And then your father came, and I was so happy that I found it easy to be good. But by and by, I had 4 little children around me, and we were poor, and the old trouble soon began. Because I'm not a patient person by nature, and it tried me very much to see my girls wanting anything.
Poor Mother. What helped you then?
Well, your father, Joe, he never loses patience. He never doubts or complains. But he always hopes and works and waits so cheerfully that one's embarrassed to do otherwise in front of him. He helped and comforted me, and he showed me that I must practice all the virtues that I would have my little children possess, for I was their example, and it was easier to try for your sakes than for my own. A startled or surprised look from one of you when I spoke sharply rebuked me more than any words could have done. And the love, respect, and confidence of my children was the sweetest reward that I could receive for my efforts to be the woman I would have them copy.
Oh, Mother, I'm half as good as you are to be satisfied.
I hope you're a great deal better, Joe. But you must watch over this bosom enemy, as your father calls it, or it may sadden, if not spoil your life. You've had a warning. Remember it. And try and master this quick temper of yours before it brings you greater sorrow than you've seen today.
I will try, Mother. I truly will. But you must help me. I used to see Father put his finger gently to his lips and look at you with a kind but sober face. Was he reminding you then?
Yes, I asked him to help me, and he never forgot. And he saved me from many a sharp word with that little gesture and kind look.
Oh, Mother, did I say something to upset you? I just felt so comfortable saying whatever I wanted.
No, Joe, you may confide in me. It's my greatest happiness and pride to think that my girls would confide in me and know that I love them.
I thought I agreed with you.
No, it was only speaking of Father made me realize how much I missed him and how much I owe him and how faithfully I should watch and work to keep his little girls safe and good for him.
But you let him go, Mother, and you didn't cry when he left. You don't seem as if you needed any help now.
Well, I gave my best to the country that I love, and I kept my tears to myself till he was gone. Why should I complain when we were both merely doing our duty, and surely we'd be happier for it in the end?
I let the sun go down on my anger. I couldn't forgive her. And if it weren't for Laurie, it might have been too late. How could I be so wicked? May I come in, or shall I be bothered?
Of course. We should have invited you before, only we didn't think you would care for such girls' tasks as this.
I don't mind, unless Meg does.
I've no objection.
Much obliged. I'll do anything if you let me stop a bit, for it's as dull as the Sahara Desert down there.
Well, we were just talking about our dreams and where we want to live when we grow up. You've got to pick your favorite place. What's yours?
Well, after I've seen as much of the world as I can, I'd like to settle down in Germany, where I'll have as much music as I'd like. I'll become a famous musician in which all creation will rush to hear me, and I won't be bothered with business or money. Just live for what I like. What about you, Meg?
Well, I should like a lovely house full of all sorts of splendid things. Good food and pretty clothes, handsome furniture and pleasant people, and heaps of money. I should be mistress of it and manage it as I like, with plenty of servants so I wouldn't need to work at all. But I wouldn't be idle. I would spend my days doing good and make everyone love me.
That's beautiful, Meg. I think I shall write books and become rich and famous. That would suit me, so that is my favorite dream.
Mine is to stay at home safely with father and mother and help taking care of the family.
Don't you want anything else?
I only wish we may all keep well and be together and nothing else.
I have ever so many wishes. My pet one is to be an artist and live in Rome and be the best artist ever.
Well, we're ambitious then, aren't we? All of us, well, except for Beth, want to become rich and famous. I wonder if we'll ever get our wishes. I have a secret to tell you, but first you tell me yours.
I haven't got any.
You can't hide anything. Fess up or I'm not telling.
Is your secret a nice one?
Oh, isn't it such fun and all about people you know, and I've been aching to tell you.
Well, you promise not to say anything to anyone?
Not a word.
And you won't tease me in private?
I never tease.
Yes, you do. You get what you want out of people. You're a little wheedler, Laurie.
Thank you. Fire away.
Well, I've submitted 2 stories to the newspaper man, and I find out this afternoon whether or not it's to be printed.
Hooray for Miss March, the celebrated American authoress.
Hush, it won't come to anything, I dare say. And I didn't tell anyone anything because I didn't want them to be disappointed.
It won't fail, Joe. Your stories are works of Shakespeare compared to half the rubbish that's published every day. Won't it be fun to see it in print, and shan't we feel proud of our authoress?
Now, come, tell me your secret or I'll never trust you again.
Well, I may get into a scrape for telling you this, but I didn't promise that I wouldn't. And I never feel easy in my mind until I've told you every bit of plummy news I get. I know where Meg's glove is.
Is that all? From the pair she lost a few weeks ago? She got one back in the mail from you.
Yes, but it's much more exciting when I tell you where it is.
Tell them.
My tutor, Mr. Brooke, took it.
How do you know?
Saw it.
Where? Pocket? All this time?
Yes, isn't it romantic?
No, it's ridiculous!
You don't like it?
No. Mercy me, why would I? What would Meg say?
I thought you'd be pleased.
At the idea of coming to take some from her away from me? Why would I be pleased?
You'll feel better about it when someone tries to come and take you away.
I'd like to see them try.
So should I.
The Rival Painters.
Who wrote it?
Your sister! Columbus, what's the matter?
You have scarlet fever, haven't you?
Years ago, when Meg did, why?
And I'll tell you. Oh, Joe, the baby is dead.
What baby?
Mrs. Howells. I've been going over there to take care of them, and they died in my lap before she got home.
Oh, you poor dear. How dreadful.
It wasn't dreadful, Joe. Only so sad. I saw in a minute it was sicker. The legend said her mother had gone for the doctor, so I took baby and let Laurie rest. It seems asleep, but all of a sudden it gave a cry and trembled. I tried to warm his feet, and Laurie gave it some milk, but it didn't stir, and I knew it was dead.
Don't cry.
sat and held it softly till Mrs. Hummel came with the doctor. He said it was dead and looked at Eric and Nina, who had sore throat. Scarlet fever man ought to have called before. He said crossly. Mrs. Hummel told him she tried to cure baby herself, but it was too late, and she could only just wait for his fate. He smiled at and was kind of, but it was very sad, and I cried with that until he turned around all of a sudden and told me to go home and take some belladonna, or I have the fever.
Oh, Beth, I don't think you're going to have it. What should we do?
I guess I shan't have it badly. I looked in Mother's book and I saw it starting. Headache, sore throat, and poor feeling like mine. So I took some belladonna and I feel better.
Well, I guess you will have it. You've been over the baby and those sick children for weeks now. I'll go get Mother. She'll know what to do.
Don't let Amy come. She never had it. And I should hate to give it to her. Can you and Meg have it all over again?
I guess not. Served me right if I did. Mean thing, staying home and writing rubbish when I should have gone and helped you.
There's no need to worry, Beth. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll send for Dr. Bangs to take a look at you so we start off right. Then we'll send Amy off to Aunt March's to keep her out of harm's way. And one of you girls can stay home and amuse Beth for a day or two.
I'll stay with her, Mother. I said I would go and do the chores, but I haven't.
I'll go and tell Amy. She has to go to Aunt March's straight away. She'll protest, but it's for her own good. Will you help and convince her?
Yes, Mother. We don't want her coming down with the fever, too. The doctor has advised Mother to send for Father.
Oh, Joe, it's not so bad as that.
Yes, it is. She doesn't know us. She doesn't talk about the flocks of green doves, as she calls the ivy leaves on the wall. She doesn't look like my Beth. Come here, Joe. Hold on. Thank you. I don't feel so forlorn now, and I will bear it if it comes.
Just keep hoping for the best, Joe. That'll help. Soon your father will be home and everything will be all right. Does Meg feel fair?
Yes, she tries. But she doesn't love her as I do. And she won't miss her as I will. Bethy is my conscience, and I can't live without her.
Presently, I don't think she'll die. We all love her so much, and she's so good to us.
But the good do always die.
Poor girl, you're worn out. What did the doctor have to say?
He said that any change would come around midnight, at which point he would return.
Well, it seems like we'll all be here together.
Goodbye, my Beth. Goodbye.
What is it, dearie?
I want to tell you something, Mother.
About Meg?
Yes, it is about Meg. How quickly you guessed. It's a small thing, but it fidgets me.
Tell me about it.
Well, before Beth's passing, I found out that Mr. Brooke owned that he liked Meg. Isn't it a dreadful state of things?
So do you think she cares for him?
Mercy, I don't know anything about love. Girls in the novels show it by blushing or staring, fainting away, growing thin. And Meg does nothing of that sort. She eats and drinks and sleeps like a sensible creature. She looks at me straight in the face when I talk about that man, and only blushes a little when Laurie jokes about lovers. I forbid him to do it, but he doesn't listen to me as he ought.
So you fancy that Meg is not interested in John?
Who?
Mr. Brooke. I call him John now.
Oh, I know you'll take his part.
Don't get angry. And I'll tell you how it happened. When we were getting to know John, he was perfectly open and honorable about Meg. He told us that he loved her. But he wanted to earn a comfortable home for her before he asked her to marry him. He only wanted our leave to love her and to work for her and for the right to make her love him too, if he could. He's a truly excellent young man, and we couldn't refuse to listen to him.
She'll see those handsome eyes that she talks about, and it will be all up with her. Her heart is so soft it will melt like butter in the sun if anyone says anything sentimentally to her. She read his short reports more than your letters, Mother, and would pinch me when I would talk about it. I see it all. They'll go lovering around the house, and I shall have to dodge. And it will be the end of peace and fun and cozy times all together. I wish that I was a boy so I could marry Meg and we wouldn't have to deal with this nonsense.
Now, Joe, I confide in you, and I don't wish for you to say anything to Meg. So when she and John come back, and I see them together, I can better judge how her feelings are towards him.
Yes, Mother. I understand how you feel, but I just wish that she would marry Laurie by and by and live in the lap of luxury all her days. Wouldn't it be nice?
I hardly think Laurie has grown up enough for me, and altogether too much of a weathercock for anyone to depend on. Don't make plans, Joe, but let time and their own hearts make good friends. We can't meddle safely in these matters.
I won't, Mother. I just wish that we were all boys, so we wouldn't have to deal with all of this. I wish that we could wear flat irons on our heads, so we could stay young forever. But buds will be roses, and kittens cats. More's the pity.
What's that about flat irons and cats?
Nothing. Just one of my silly speeches. I'm going to bed.
Quite right and beautifully written. Please send my love to John.
Do you call him John now?
Yes, he's like a son to us. We're very fond of him.
Well, I'm glad of it. He's so lonely. Good night, Mother dear.
She doesn't love John yet, but she'll soon learn to.
You seem ever so far away since all of this John nonsense. I don't mean to plague you, and I will bear it like a man if it comes, but if you mean to do it, have it over quickly and make haste.
I can't say anything until he speaks, and he won't.
If he did speak, you wouldn't know what to say, and you would blush or cry, or let him have his way instead of giving him a good decided no.
I wouldn't say anything like that. I would tell him, Mr. Brooks, please say no more, and let's be friends and work.
That's stiff and cool enough, but I don't think he'll say it. And if he did say it, he wouldn't like it very much. And if he acts like the rejected lovers in the novels, you'll give in rather than hurt his feelings.
No, I won't. I will tell him I've made up my mind, and I walked out of the room with dignity.
Good afternoon. I've come to get my umbrella. That is to see how your father finds himself today.
It's well, he's in the rack. I'll go and get him and tell that you're here.
Mother would like to see you. Pray sit down, I'll call her.
Don't go. Are you afraid of me, Meg?
How could be afraid of you when you've been so kind to Father? I only wish I could thank you for it.
Shall I tell you how?
Oh no, please don't.
I won't trouble you. Only I want to know if you care for me a little, Meg. I I love you so much, dear.
I don't know.
Will you try and find out? Or I can't go to work with any heart until I am to know whether I'll have my prize in the end.
I'm too young.
I'll wait. And in the meantime, you could be learning to like me. Would it be such a hard lesson to learn?
Not if I chose to learn it, but...
Then May please choose to. I'd love you to teach him this is an easier lesson than German.
I don't choose. Please, just go and let me be.
Do you really mean that, May?
Yes, I do. I don't wish to be worried about such things. Father says I needn't. It's too soon, and I'd rather not.
Man, I hope you'll change your mind by and by. I'll wait and say nothing until you've had more time. Please don't play with me. I didn't think that of you.
Don't think of me at all. Please, just go and let me be.
Bless me, what's all this?
Oh, Aunt March, I'm so surprised to see you. That's Father's friend. We were talking.
Well, it's evident you're surprised to see me, but what's Father's friend saying that as you blushing red as a peony, there's mischief afoot, and I insist upon knowing what it is.
That's Mr. Brooke. He came for his umbrella.
Look, oh, the boy's tutor. I understand now. Your sister Jo blundered upon a wrong message in one of your father's letters, and a man told me all about it. You haven't gone and accepted it, child.
Hush! He might hear you. I should call Mother.
No, not just yet. I have something to say to you, and I must speak my mind at once. Tell me, you intend to marry this cook? If you do, not one penny of my money goes to you. Remember that. Be a sensible girl.
Well, Aunt March, I'll marry whom I choose, and you can leave your money to anyone you like.
Well, highty-tighty. Is that how you take my advice, miss? Well, you'll regret it by and by when you tried love in a cottage and found it a failure.
It can't be a worse one than some find big houses.
Oh, Meg, my dear, please be reasonable and listen to me. I mean well. Please take my advice. I don't want you to make a mistake by spoiling your life from the very beginning, making a mistake. You ought to marry well and help your family. You ought to make a rich match and that should be impressed upon you.
Father and Mother like John, though he's poor.
Your mother and father have no more worldly wisdom than a pair of babies.
Well, I'm glad of it.
This Brooke is poor and hasn't got any rich relations, has he?
No, he doesn't. But he has many kind friends.
Well, you can't live off of friends forever. See, try it and see how soon they will grow cool. He hasn't any business, has he?
Not yet. But Mr. Lawrence plans to help him along.
Well, that won't last long. James Lawrence is a crotchety old fellow who cannot be depended upon. So, you intend to marry a man with no money, no business, no position, and work harder than you do now when you might have been comfortable all your days by minding me and doing better. I thought you had more sense, Meg.
Aunt March, I couldn't do better if I waited half my life. John is good and kind. He's talented and brave. He's hardworking and sure to get on. And everyone loves and respects him. I'm proud to think that he cares for me, though I am so young and poor and silly.
He knows you have rich relations. I think that's the reason for his liking.
Aunt March, how dare you say such things? My John is above such meanness, and I won't listen to you for a minute if you talk this way. John wouldn't marry for money any more than I would. We're willing to work, and we will wait. And I'm not afraid of being poor, for I've been happy so far, and I know that we will be happy together, because he cares for me, and I care.
Well, I wash my hands of this whole affair. You're a willful child, and you've lost more than you know by this piece of folly. No, I won't stop. I am disappointed in you. I'm not in the spirits to go see your father right now. Don't expect anything from me when we're married. You're Mr. Cook's friends. They'll have to take care of you. I am done with you forever.
Oh, Meg, I couldn't help overhearing. Thank you for defending me. Thanks, Aunt March, for proving that you do care for me at least a little.
Oh, I didn't know until she abused you so.
Then I needn't go, but may stay and be happy. And when you're ready, we'll marry.
Yes, John.
Sister Joe, congratulate us.
Oh, do somebody come quick! John Brooke is acting dreadfully, and Meg likes it!
I'm anxious about Amy. It seems she's had something on her mind ever since her second child.
What makes you think so, Mother?
Well, she sits alone a lot, and she doesn't talk to her father as much. And the other day I caught her crying over the baby. She sings, but they're all sad songs.
Have you asked her about it?
Well, I tried to once or twice, but she either evaded me or she was so distressed that I stopped. I seldom have to force my children's confidence, and it never really takes that long.
Well, Mother, it seems that Amy is beginning to grow up and dream dreams and have hopes and fears and fidgets without knowing why or being able to explain them. Why, Mother, she's nearly 16 now. No longer a child, though we don't yet realize it, and becoming quite a young lady.
So she is. Dear heart, how fast you all do grow up.
It can't be helped, Mother. So you must resign yourself to such worries and let your little birds hop out of the nest one by one.
I'll leave Amy to your hands then, but she'll open her heart to her Meg before anyone else. Only, don't let her know that anybody's watching her or talking about her. Oh, if she would only get cheerful again, I shouldn't have a worry in the world.
Don't worry, Mother. I will settle Amy's worries and take care of her.
All Serene's coming in tonight.
How well have that dear boy look? Oh my. Amy's in love. I wonder what Mother will think. I wonder if he shouldn't love her back, how dreadful that would be. He must. Mercy. We are growing up with a vengeance. Here I am, married and a mother, and Amy's in love with Laurie. She will make quite an angel of him, and he will make life delightfully pleasant and easy for her, if they only love each other. And I don't see how he could help it, if we were only out of the way.
Now this is filling at the price.
No slang.
Don't be thorny, Joe. After studying himself to a skeleton all week, a fellow deserves a petting and ought to get it.
I'm busy. Amy will pet you.
She won't be bothered with me, and I thought you liked that sort of thing, unless you suddenly changed. Have you? Do you hate your boy and want to fire pillows at him?
How many bouquets have you sent to Miss Randall this week?
Not one, upon my word. She's engaged. Now then.
I'm glad that's one of your foolish extravagances, sending flowers and things to girls for whom you don't care two pins.
Sensible girls whom I care hold papers and pins won't let me send them flowers and things. So what am I to do? My feelings need a bend.
Mother doesn't approve of flirting, Laurie, and you do flirt desperately.
I would give anything to say so to you, but I don't see any harm in the game as long as the other parties know it's only play.
Yes, it is pleasant, and one does feel awkward in the company of others when everyone else is doing it. I've tried, and I don't get on.
You should take lessons from Amy. She has a regular talent for it.
Yes, she does it very prettily and doesn't seem to go too far. But she has a talent for that sort of thing, and, well, others say and do the wrong things in the wrong place.
Well, I'm glad you don't flirt, Joe. It's refreshing to see a sensible, straightforward girl who can be kind and jolly without making a fool of herself. Between us, the girls are going at such a rate that I feel ashamed of them. If they knew the way the fellows talked about them afterward, they would mend their ways, I fancy.
They do the same, and their tongues are the sharpest, so you fellows get the worst of it. They go on like that because they think you like it, and then you make fun of them for it.
Much you know about it, man, but we don't like romps and flirts, though it seems we do, and the modest girls are never talked about, except respectfully by gentlemen. Upon my word, every time I see one of them harem-skirl girls, I want to say with our friend Cock Robin, out upon you, fire upon you, bold-faced jig.
Well, if you must have a vent, why don't you go after one of those sensible girls for whom you do respect, instead of chasing after the silly ones?
Do you really advise that?
Yes, I do. I think you ought to finish college first, because you're not half good enough for, well, whoever the modest girl may be.
That I'm not.
Why don't you go and sing for me? I always like it when you do.
I'd rather stay here, thank you.
Well, there isn't room, and you're too big to be ornamental. I thought you didn't like being tied to a woman's apron strings.
That depends on who's wearing the apron.
Are you going?
It's getting late, Laurie. I think it's time you run on home.
Yes, ma'am. Good night, Joe.
Mother, I think I'd like to go away this winter.
Why, Joe?
Well, I feel as if I'm getting idle here, and I worry too much about my own affairs. So I'd like to hop a bit and try my wings.
Where will you hop?
To New York. I had an idea yesterday. You know how Mrs. Kirk is looking for a young, respectable person to teach her children and sew? Well, I'm not exactly suited for the work, but I could try.
My dear, go out to service in that great boarding house.
It's not exactly going to service, Mother. Mrs. Kirk is your friend, and a very nice soul. And her family lives in a separate part of the house. I don't know anyone, but I don't care. It's modest work, and I'm not ashamed of it.
Nor I, but what about your writing?
Well, I'm sure I'll have plenty of experiences and learn new things. Even if I don't have much time to write there, I'll have plenty of material to fill my rubbish when I get home.
Well, I have no doubt of that. But are these the only reasons for the sudden fancy?
No, Mother.
I ask what the others are?
Well, it may seem a bit vain, but I think that Laurie begins to care for me.
And you don't care for him the way it's evident he cares about you?
No, Mother. I love that dear boy, but not in that way.
Well, I'm glad of that.
Why, please?
Well, because you're not suited to each other. As friends, you're very happy, and your frequent quarrels soon blow over. But I fear you would both rebel if you were mated for life. You're too much alike, and too fond of freedom to get on in a relation that requires infinite patience, forbearance as well as love.
I agree with you, Mother. I just didn't know how to say it.
Yes, I think you should go. If it can be managed, you will.
Well, let's not say anything until the plan is settled. And Amy will take care of Laurie, so he'll soon forget about this lovelornity.
Come here. Jill has written us from New York. Dear Marmee and Amy, I'm going to write you a regular volume, for I have things to tell.
As I went downstairs, soon after unpacking my things, I saw something I liked. The flights are very long in this tall house, and as I stood waiting at the head of the third one for a little servant girl to lumber up, I saw a gentleman come along behind her, take the heavy hod of coal out of her hand, carry it all the way up, put it down at a door nearby, and walk away, saying with a kind nod and a foreign accent, "It goes better so. The little back is too young to have such heaviness." Wasn't it good of him? I like such things, for as Father says, trifles show character. When I mentioned it to Mrs. K that evening, she laughed and said, "That must have been Professor Bear. He's always doing things of that sort."
There's a glass door between the parlor where he teaches and the nursery, and I mean to peep at him, and I'll tell you how he looks. He's almost 40, so there's no harm, Marmee.
Tuesday Eve. Had a lively time in my seminary this morning, for the children acted like fools.
I was thanking my lucky stars that I learned to make nice buttonholes when the parlor door opened and shut and someone began to hum Hence Du Das Land like a big bumblebee.
Professor Bear was there. I took a good look at him. He looked sober in spite of his humming.
I went to dinner last night, and there was Professor Bear at the end of the table.
If Amy had been here, she'd have turned her back on him forever, because sad to relate, he had a great appetite for shoveling his dinner in a manner which would have horrified a ladyship.
I didn't mind, for I like to see folks eat with a relish, and the poor man must have needed a deal of food after teaching idiots all day.
Thursday, yesterday, was a quiet day, spent teaching, sewing, and writing my little book.
I was in our parlor last evening when Mr. Bear came in with some newspapers for Mrs. Kerr. She wasn't there, but Minnie, who is a little old woman, introduced me very prettily. This is Mama's friend, Miss March.
Yes, and she's jolly like her Watts. Kitty, who's an enfant terrible.
We both bowed, and then we laughed for the prim introduction and the blunt addition for a rather comical contrast.
P.S. On reading over my letter, it strikes me as rather Berry. But I'm always interested in odd people, and I really had nothing else to talk about.
My precious Amy.
The professor and I are very good friends now, and I've begun to take lessons. I really couldn't help it, and it all came about in such a droll way that I really must tell you how.
One day last week, he got me mending his socks. Hearing the lessons he gives to others has interested and amused me so much that I took a fancy to learn. I had been sitting near the door finishing the last sock and trying to understand what he said to a new scholar who was as stupid as I am. It got quiet, and I thought they had all gone when I looked up and saw Mr. Bear laughing quietly.
So, he said, as I stopped and stared like a goose, you peep at me, I peep at you. And this is not bad, but see, I am not pleasanting when I say, have you a wish for a German?
Yes, but you're too busy and I'm too stupid to learn. I blundered out as a peony.
Prut. We will make time, and we fail not to find the sense. At evening I shall get a little lesson with much gladness. For look you, Miss Marsh, I have this debt to pay. And he pointed to my work. Yes, they say to one another, these so kind ladies, he is a stupid old fellow. He will see not what we do. He will never observe that his sock heels go not in holes anymore. He will think his buttons grow out new when they fall, and believe that strings make theirselves. Ah, but I have an eye, and I see much. I have a heart, and I feel thanks for this. Come a little lesson then and now, or no more good fairy works for me and mine.
I'm glad Laurie seems so happy and busy that he has given up smoking and lost his hair go. You seem to manage him better than I did. I'm not jealous, dear. Do your best. Only don't make a scene with him. I'm afraid I couldn't like him without a spice of human naughtiness. Read him parts of my letters. I haven't time to write much, and that will do just as well.
January. A Happy New Year to you all, my dearest family, which of course includes Mr. L. and a young man by the name of Laurie Lawrence.
I'm glad you both like what I tell you about Mr. Bear and hope you will know him someday. Mother would admire his warm heart and Father his wise head. I admire both and feel rich in my new friend Frederick Bear.
I had a very happy New Year after all, and when I thought it over in my room, I felt as if I was getting on a little in spite of my many failures. For I'm cheerful all the time now, work with a will, and take more interest in other people than I used to, which is satisfactory. I'm excited for Amy to go to Europe. You'll be even more cultured than you already are. I'm sad, however, that you will miss Laurie's graduation in June. Love to you all. Now that you've graduated, you must have a nice long holiday.
I intend to.
No, Laurie. Please don't.
I will. And you must hear me. It's no use, Joe. We've got to have it out. And the sooner the better for both of us.
Well, say what you like. I'll listen.
I've loved you ever since I've known you, Joe. And I tried to show you and you wouldn't let me. So now you must hear me and give me an answer. For I can't go on any longer.
I tried to save you from this.
I know you did, but the girls are so queer. You never know what they mean. They say yes when they mean no, and they drive a man out of his wish just for the fun of it.
I don't. And that's why I left. So that I could keep you from it if I could.
I thought so. It was like you, but it was no use. I tried so hard to make you love me. I got rid of the billiards and everything you didn't like and never once complained. Just hoping you would love me. Although I'm not half good enough.
Yes, you are. You're a great deal too good for me, I think. But I can't love you, Laurie. Not in the way that you want me to.
Really? Truly, Joe?
Really, truly, dear. Oh, Laurie, I'm sorry. So desperately sorry. I could kill myself if it would make things better.
People can't force themselves to love each other, but they do sometimes.
But that's not the right sort of love. And I'd rather not try it. I want to tell you something.
Don't tell me that, Joe. I can't bear it right now.
Tell what?
That you love that old man.
What old man?
That devilish professor that you're always writing about. If you're about to tell me you love him, I'm bound to do something desperate.
Don't swear, Laurie. He isn't old, nor anything bad. He's kind and good, and the best friend I've got next to you. I'm trying to be kind, but if you should say something to abuse my professor, I know I shall get angry. I haven't the least idea of loving that man, nor anyone else.
But you will, and then what will become of me?
You'll love someone else too in time, and you'll forget about me.
I can't love anybody else, Joe. And I'll never forget about you. Never.
What should I do with him? You haven't let me tell you what I had to say. Sit down and listen. I agree with Mother that you and I are not suited for one another. With our quick tempers and our strong wills, we're bound to be unhappy. If we were so foolish as to
marry? No, we shouldn't. Joe, if you love me, I could be a perfect saint, and you can make me anything you'd like.
No, I can't. I've tried and I've failed. So we shouldn't be so foolish as to do something like this.
We would if we had the chance.
Now do be reasonable and take a sensible view of the case.
I will not be reasonable, and I won't take what you call a sensible view. It only makes things harder. I don't believe you've got any heart.
I wish I hadn't.
Don't disappoint us, dear. Everyone expects it. Grandpa has his heart set on it. Your people like it. Just say that you love me and be happy.
I can't say yes truly. So I won't say it at all. Laurie, I will never love you. And the sooner you realize that, the better for the both of us.
You'll be sorry, Joe.
Where are you going?
To the devil!
I'm 25 tomorrow. An old maid. That's what I'm to be. Literary spinster with a pen for a spouse and family of stories for children. Perhaps a morsel of fame 20 years hence. I imagine old maids get used to it after a while, but...
Oh, Laurie, my Laurie! You're glad to see me then.
So excited, my dear boy. Where's Amy?
Your mother's got her down at Meg's. We stopped by there, and there's no way of getting my wife out of my clutches.
Your what?
Oh, the dickens, now I've done it.
You've gone and got married.
Yes, but I never will again.
Actually married?
Very much so, thank you.
Oh, what will this boy do next?
A characteristic, but not exactly complimentary congratulation.
Well, what do you expect when you come in creeping like a burglar and letting cats out of a bag like that? Come, sit down and tell me how it happened.
Only if you let me come in my place, I promise not to barricade.
Sit.
Don't I look like a married man and head of a family?
No, and you never will. You're still the same scapegrace as always.
Now, Joe, you ought to treat me with more respect.
How can I, when the idea of you being married is so funny that I can barely keep sober?
It's no use. You're going out in the cold to get Amy, for they're all coming presently. I wanted to let you know the big surprise, and But you have first skim, as we used to say when we squabbled about the cream.
Well, you've gone and spoiled it all by starting at the end of your story rather than at the beginning. Again.
Well, I did it to please Amy.
That's a fib. Amy did it to please you. Continue.
Now she's beginning to marmot. Isn't it lovely to hear her? Well, we had planned on coming home a month ago with the Carrolls, but they wanted to stay another winter in Paris. And Grandpa wanted to come home, and I couldn't let him go by himself. The Carrolls affair kept Amy from coming with me, so I just settled it by saying, let's be married and we can do as we like.
How did you convince the aunt to let you go?
It was hard work, but we had heaps of good reasons on our side. We didn't have time to write and ask leave, and it was only taking time at the fetlock, as my wife says.
Aren't you proud of those 2 words, and don't we enjoy saying them?
A trifle, perhaps. She's such a captivating little woman, though. I can't help but to feel proud of her. Aunt and Uncle were there to play propriety, and me and Amy were so absorbed in one another that we were no mortal use apart. So, with that charming arrangement, it made everything much easier, and we just did it.
Well, why didn't you come home straight afterward?
Well, we had planned to, but the dear old gentleman, after we were married, realized that he wouldn't be ready in under a month, so he sent us off to spend our honeymoon wherever we'd like. Joe, I want to say something, and then we can leave it behind forever. As I told you in my letter that Amy had been so kind, I'll never stop loving you. It's true, but the love is altered. You and Amy have changed places in my heart, that's all. And I've come to realize that everything is better the way it is now. And if I had just waited, like you had told me, everything would have come about naturally. But I was a boy then, headstrong and violent. At one point, I was so tumbled up in my mind that I didn't know who I loved more, you or Amy. And then I saw Amy in Switzerland, and everything became so clear. I can honestly share my heart with Sister Joe and wife Amy and love them dearly. Can you believe it? And can we go back to the way things were?
No, Laurie, we can't go back to the way things were. We're not children anymore. We can't go around frolicking. But I love the man that you have become. And we'll go on being brother and sister, won't we? Tell me, how do you and Amy get on?
Like angels.
Who rules?
I don't mind telling you that she does, or at least I let her think she does. It pleases her, you know.
Well, Amy will rule you all her days.
She does it so imperceptibly that I don't think I'll mind it. In fact, I rather like it. She winds one around her finger as softly and prettily as a skein of silk and makes you believe she's doing you a favor all the while.
To think that I would see you a hen-pecked husband and enjoying it.
Me and my wife respect ourselves and each other too much to tyrannize and quarrel.
Yes, you and Amy always did get on better than you and I. But that reminds me of the people that we used to talk about, the sun and the wind. The sun always managed the man better.
She can blow him up as well as shine in him. Such a lecture I got at Nice. Far worse than any of your scoldings. I'll tell you about it sometime. She never will. For after telling me she was ashamed of me and despised me, she lost her heart and married the good-for-nothing.
Well, if she abuses you, come to me, I'll save you.
I look as if I need it, don't I?
Where is she? Where's my dear old Joe?
Love has done much for our little girl.
She's had a good example before her all of her life, my dear.
Now, Grandma's 60th birthday. Long life to her with 3 times 3.
Hooray, Marmee! I don't think I shall ever call myself Unlucky Joe again, for my wish has been so beautifully gratified.
And yet your life is very different from the one you pictured so long ago. Do you remember our castles in the air?
Yes. But mine seems so sad and lonely to me now. I still want to write, but I can wait.
My castle was the most nearly realized of all splendid things. But in my heart, I always knew I should be satisfied with a little home, and John, and 2 dear children like my own. I have them all. and I am the happiest woman in the world.
My castle is very different from what I planned, but I will not alter it though like Joe. And I do not relinquish all my artistic hopes and confine myself to helping others fulfill their dreams of beauty. I began to model a figure of baby, and Laurie says this is the best thing I have ever done. I mean to do it in marble. Along with May, I can also say that I'm a children.
Well, I needn't say it, for we all know that I'm a great deal happier than I deserve. And we hope that this year's harvest will be a good one.
I think it will, Joe.
Not half as good as yours, Mother. Here it is. We can't thank you enough for your patient reaping and sowing.
I hope there will be more wheat and less tares every year.
A large sheep, to be sure, but I know there's room in your heart for it, Marmee dear.
Oh, my girls, however long you may live, I can never wish you a greater happiness than this.